Hi, this is Salvador, and I'm here with Jayne Johnson, whom I consider Rich Dad's secret weapon, and I'm about to unveil the secret because I think this is a very important person for all of my network to know who she is. She's taught me a lot, and many of the things that I've learned from her, I've used throughout all my workshops and my tours throughout the world. So, Jayne, thank you very much for setting up this interview with me.
Thank you.
Do you mind telling the people out there a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, I've been very blessed. I've been doing this work for about almost 30 years, and that's a long time. That's a long time to be at something, and I've learned a lot. I've been very blessed to help a lot of people with clearing out the stuff in the subconscious mind, or just expanding context and changing context so that people can be successful and get what they want in life.
Great. So what would you say your profession is called?
I'm called a clearing practitioner, and it's very unique. You know, it's not psychiatry, it's not psychology.
It's great that you brought that up, actually, because when I go around telling people, you know, what you teach and how you've taught many people in the Rich Dad Network, including Robert Kiyosaki himself, one of the biggest questions that comes out is she Robert Kiyosaki's psychologist or psychiatrist? What would you say about that? How would you say what you do differs from, you know, for example, a psychiatrist or a psychologist?
Yeah, well, it's a good question, because I get that question a lot too myself. And it's not those things. It's not psychiatry, psychology, it's not counseling, not even coaching. It's the process of asking someone the questions that are the right questions that help draw out what they already know. Their own knowledge and their own truth is inside them. And we've all heard that a lot. It's like, okay, well, if that's the case, then how do we get it out? And one of the things I do is help people draw that knowledge and truth out. Instead of, I don't evaluate them or judge them, or I just listen to what they say. And for a lot of people, that's a unique experience, to just be heard without being judged.
For me, it's definitely like a refreshing experience as well.
Right.
Could you give an example, perhaps with some of the people you worked with, or an experience that you had, so that the people listening on the video can understand a little bit, what is an example of something that you would draw out of a person for them to realize and that they would be able to use in their life?
Right. Well, in a way, it's infinite what you can draw out of somebody, because everybody has their own unique memories. But the idea is that our memories, the ones that are memories of negative memories of things that hurt us or hurt our feelings or hurt us physically, that those still have an effect on us today if they get triggered. They're like a little video recording, and they start playing and they take over us, and at that time we're not sovereign individuals anymore. We're the memories controlling us. So the idea is to get that memory out on the table where you can remember it, see it, and think, wow, I don't need to let that affect me anymore.
Yeah, I noticed that was a really powerful thing that you taught to me, was being able to realize that there is actually a memory there that if you may not even realize it's there,
right.
And until you identify it, it's actually still blocking you from moving forward. And so it's a really powerful technology that you've taught to me. For example, the example of complimenting someone on their hair. I could compliment someone on the hair, and their reaction to that could be contrary to what I expected. For example, they might think, oh, well, why are you complimenting me on my hair today? Are you trying to imply that yesterday it wasn't looking nice? And that could affect me from moving forward and complimenting people in the future. But when I identify that it's actually, that wasn't because of me, then I'm not putting that context that, oh gosh, I shouldn't be complimenting people, or maybe I say the wrong things to people. So it's a very powerful technology, I think, that you teach, and that it's very helpful for a lot of people. Can you tell us a little bit about your history with Robert Kiyosaki and Kim Kiyosaki and the Rich Dad Company?
Sure. Well, I'm very fortunate there as well because I met them in 1990 in January. I still remember that day. Robert was teaching a seminar. There were people from all over the world there. And yes, it was before Rich Dad, Poor Dad was written. I think that was written around 1995. And I had the good fortune to be there because of my teacher and husband, Lawrence West, who knew Robert in 1982. That's when they met, I believe.
Wow.
And a long time ago. So around 1990 I met, in 1990 is when I met them, and they brought us up on stage, Robert and Kim brought us on stage to meet all the other people there. And from that was just the beginning of an amazing relationship with some great friends who support the clearing work. And I'm speaking for them in a way, but I do think that they think it's very valuable.
And it's interesting that there's actually an actual history with it, an event of yours and the beginning of the Rich Dad Company. Do you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, thanks. In 1996, in January, I did my very first goals workshop, my formal goals workshop. There's about 30 people there. Robert and Kim came to Austin, Texas, where I did the first one. They brought some of their friends, which was also very kind. And we all just had a great time. It was very powerful. It turned out to be an amazing, magical experience that, who knew? You know, it was just some people getting together, and I went over the material and some of the goals, you know, workshop material and different processing and so on. And one of the things that occurred in that workshop that Robert talks about is that he said he wrote the business plan for Rich Dad, Poor Dad in that workshop, which is amazing. I'm glad that could be a little tiny part of that, but that's what he says, and it was just...
And he's actually shown you this...
He did. Well, he showed it at one seminar, maybe a few years ago here in Arizona. He had the notebook from that January 1990 workshop. He saved it, he had it, and he basically had it in his hand. I mean, he wasn't doing like this. He just had it, and he said this was the workshop. And I just couldn't believe he still had that. I was very honored by that as well. But yeah, and another time he did a workshop here, a training, and afterwards there were a few of us in the back of the room after it was all over, and he brought out this butcher paper and it had those drawings on it. Yeah, it was the cash flow game. The beginning, I guess, a rough drawing, a sketch in pencil.
Wow.
That he had made of the cash flow game, and he was telling all of us there that he had created this game, and I just thought, wow, who creates their own game? That's amazing, a board game. And look what has gone on with that. I mean, it's helped so many people. It's a brilliant game.
I mean, it's
brilliant game.
A majority of the reason why I still travel around the world, and I know that I've been to a couple of your goals workshops, and the things that I've accomplished since then have just been amazing. I mean, I've taught in Israel and Russia and throughout Europe and in Mexico. And so I really appreciate a lot of the things that you've taught, not only just to Robert, but to the whole Rich Dad Network, including myself. Very powerful stuff. Also, I would like for you to talk a little bit about your husband, Lawrence West, and this book, Understanding Life. Can you say a little bit about this?
Yeah, I would love to. I can brag about the book because I didn't write it.
Well, you actually do have an introduction.
A little introduction, yes. And he did such a good job with this book. I do need to say that he passed on in 1997. So Lawrence isn't with us anymore. But it's one of the reasons I keep offering the book. It is so good. It's very simple. It's called Understanding Life. Who doesn't want to understand life, right? And he did such a great job making it very simple and yet so many people have read this book and it changed their lives. I had someone tell me that she was no longer afraid of flying just from reading the book.
Just from reading the book?
Just from reading the book. A long time ago, gal in San Antonio, Texas told me that. But I've heard many stories like that. And like I said, I can say so much about it because I'm not taking credit for it. I give all the credit to him. He was my teacher for 14 years.
Wow.
And it's
well,
just a good book.
I think that just you yourself, including with this book, the powerful technology that's available through you, and the learning is valuable to everybody in my network. I know from personal experience that it's helped me be able to overcome many challenges that I wouldn't have even known were challenges until I met you. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Look forward to more from Jayne Johnson, because we're definitely going to pull out the secret weapon as often as we can. And then thank you very much for spending your time with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.